My fiancé asked me to toast our future while his dating profile, marked active now, glowed on my phone under the restaurant table. The candle between us smelled like vanilla, the waiter was grating Parmesan over my untouched pasta, and Evan Brooks was smiling at me like he had not just written, single, settled, and ready to find my person. 6 years together, and he was hunting for someone else on our anniversary. My name is Maya Rivera. I was 31 then, a senior product designer for a health tech company in Austin, making $112,000 a year and proud of every long night it took to get there. Evan was 35, a marketing consultant with perfect teeth, rolled-up sleeves, and that easy confidence that made strangers trust him before he finished a sentence. We lived in a 2-bedroom townhouse in East Austin, the one with the blue door and the jasmine that crawled up the porch rail every spring. We met at a coffee shop on South Lamar in 2018. I spilled cold brew on his laptop bag, he laughed instead of getting annoyed, and 3 days later we were eating tacos from a truck at 10 p.m. while traffic hissed on the wet pavement behind us. Evan remembered everything, my coffee order, my mom's birthday, the name of my childhood dog, Peanut. When my father had surgery in 2020, Evan drove my parents to appointments and sat in the waiting room with me, tapping my knee whenever I started shaking. By January 2024, we were engaged. The wedding was set for October 19 at Hill Country Glass House, a venue that cost $31,800 before flowers, food, or music. We had a joint Italy honeymoon and house fund with $47,600 in it. We hosted Sunday dinners. We had matching mugs. He called me my compass. I called him home. That's what made it all feel like swallowing glass when the truth finally came out. The first weird thing happened on November 28. Evan's phone buzzed during dinner, and he flipped it face down so fast his fork clattered against his plate. I remember the sharp little sound, the smell of garlic and roasted peppers, the way he smiled too quickly. "Client emergency," he said. At 9:40 p.m.? Marketing never sleeps, babe. I let it go. Then came the receipts. A $39.99 charge from Bloom Premium on our shared credit card on December 6. When I asked, Evan waved his hand and said, "It's research. One of my clients wants to advertise on dating apps." His voice was calm, but his thumb kept rubbing the side of his water glass until it squeaked. On December 18, he came home smelling like cedar cologne I had never bought him. On January 3, he said he had a Dallas pitch and needed to stay overnight, but his truck's toll tag showed charges near Lake Travis. I stared at the email until the words blurred, then told myself I was being suspicious because wedding planning had turned me into someone who overthought table linens and seating charts. The worst part is how easy it was to dismiss each red flag alone. One odd charge. One late call. One vague answer. Betrayal does not always walk in wearing a warning sign. Sometimes it drips in slowly, like water through a ceiling, until the whole room collapses. Our anniversary was January 12. Evan booked Luminera, a rooftop Italian place downtown with hanging lights and a view of the Colorado River. He wore the navy blazer I loved. I wore a green satin dress and gold earrings shaped like tiny leaves. The air smelled like rain on concrete, and the restaurant speakers played soft piano music that made everything feel expensive and safe. Halfway through dinner, my phone buzzed in my purse. It was my best friend, Tessa Nguyen. "Maya. Do not react. Look at this under the table." A screenshot loaded slowly because the service was terrible. First I saw the app logo. Then his face. Evan Brooks, 35. Active now. New to Austin. Looking for something real. My ears started ringing so loudly the restaurant disappeared. My fingers went cold. The pasta in front of me looked suddenly fake, like plastic food in a display window. Tessa sent a second screenshot. His profile had a photo I took of him in Sedona, cropped so my hand was gone from his shoulder. Then came her message, my roommate matched with him 10 minutes ago. He asked if she was free tonight. I looked up. Evan was lifting his glass. To 6 years, he said. And forever. My mouth went dry. Who took that Sedona picture of you? I asked. His smile twitched. What? The one on Bloom. The silence hit like a door slamming shut. His eyes dropped to my phone, then back to my face. The candle flame shook between us. Maya, he said softly, let me explain. I wanted to throw the glass. I wanted to stand up and make the whole restaurant look at him. Instead, my hands trembled in my lap, nails digging half-moons into my palms. Is it you? I asked. He swallowed. It's complicated. Complicated. That word landed harder than a confession. He did not say no. I left him sitting there with 2 plates of cooling pasta and a waiter hovering awkwardly near the kitchen doors. Outside, the January wind slapped my face, and I gulped in air that tasted like rain and exhaust. Tessa was already parked at the curb in her silver Honda, hazard lights blinking. Get in, she said. I climbed in, and the second the door shut, I whispered, how long? Her eyes were shiny. Maya, I think you need to see more. More turned out to be a folder. Tessa's roommate, Kiara, had not just matched with him. She had chatted with him for 3 days after recognizing him from my Instagram. Kiara played along because she wanted proof before blowing up my life. Evan told her he was single, lived alone, and had ended a long relationship last summer. Then came the first twist. Kiara's screenshots showed Evan bragging about launching his own agency, Brooks and Lane Creative. Lane was not a random name. It was Leah Lane, one of my bridesmaids, a woman I had known for 9 years. Leah had helped me try on wedding dresses. She had cried when I chose the ivory one with pearl buttons. She had sat on my couch eating Thai food while Evan rubbed my feet after work. In the messages, Evan wrote, Leah gets me in a way Maya never did. We're waiting until after funding closes to go public. I read that sentence 3 times. The car smelled like Tessa's peppermint gum, and suddenly I thought I might be sick. Tessa, I said, barely breathing, is Leah seeing him? She gripped the steering wheel. I don't know. But there's more. The second twist arrived the next morning at 8:17 a.m., when our wedding planner called me. Maya, I'm confirming the refund request for Hill Country Glass House, she said. I was standing in my kitchen, barefoot on cold tile, coffee burning in the pot behind me. What refund request? There was a pause. Papers rustled. The cancellation form submitted yesterday. It has both your signatures. The refund is set to transfer to an account ending in 4429. My knees almost gave out. I didn't sign anything. The planner's voice tightened. Maya, I'm sending you the document right now. The signature looked like mine at first glance. But the loop on the R was wrong. The account was not ours. Evan had tried to cancel our wedding behind my back and redirect $21,400 in deposits. I called him immediately. My hands were shaking so hard I hit the wrong button twice. When he answered, he sounded tired. Can we talk tonight? Did you forge my signature? I asked. Silence. Maya, don't use words like that. Did you? He exhaled. I was trying to simplify things. The room tilted. The refrigerator hummed. The coffee maker hissed like it was angry for me. That week broke something in me. I slept maybe 2 hours at a time, waking at 3:12 a.m. with my heart pounding and the ceiling fan slicing shadows across the room. Food tasted like cardboard. I called in sick on Monday and Tuesday, then worked Wednesday with my camera off because my eyes were swollen from crying. The house felt haunted. Evan's shoes by the door. His gray hoodie on the chair. The lemon soap he liked in the bathroom. Every ordinary object turned into evidence that I had been living beside a stranger. My mom came over with soup and found me sitting on the hallway floor sorting through bank statements. "Mija," she said, kneeling beside me, her perfume warm and powdery, "you do not have to understand a snake to step away from it." "I feel stupid," I whispered. She took my face in both hands. "No. You were loyal. There is a difference." Still, shame crawled under my skin. I replayed every dinner, every kiss on the forehead, every "I love you." I wondered how many times he had looked at me and calculated how much more he could take. The turning point came on January 18th. I saw Leah's Instagram story by accident. She was at a glossy co-working space downtown, holding a branded coffee cup. Behind her was a banner, "Brooks and Lane Creative, Investor Preview, February 2nd. And there, reflected in the window behind her, was Evan. Laughing. Relaxed. Wearing the watch I bought him for Christmas. My sadness evaporated so fast it left heat behind. My fists clenched around my phone. He had not just betrayed me. He had planned a future using my money, my contacts, my photos, and my silence as building materials. Tessa texted, "Are you okay?" I typed back, "No. But I'm done crying." That was the moment I stopped asking why and started asking how. The first person I called was Carla Mendez, a contract attorney my company used. Her office smelled like black coffee and printer paper, and she listened without interrupting while I slid documents across her desk, screenshots, bank statements, the forged cancellation form, the Bloom subscription charge, the Brooks and Lane announcement. Carla tapped the forged signature with a red pen. "This is not a relationship problem anymore. This is evidence." "What can I do?" I asked. "You gather. You do not warn him. You do not threaten him. You let facts do the talking." So I gathered. Tessa created a shared folder labeled "Garden Photos" in case Evan glanced at my laptop. Kiera downloaded her entire chat history with timestamps. The wedding planner sent server logs showing Evan submitted the cancellation from his personal email at 11:43 p.m. on January 11th. My bank froze the joint account after I reported suspicious activity, locking the remaining $26,200 in place. Then I found another piece. Evan had used 3 design mock-ups from my private portfolio in the Brooks and Lane pitch deck. My work. My files. My late nights. He had stripped my name off and replaced it with "Creative Strategy" by Evan Brooks. Carla smiled for the first time when she saw that. Now we have intellectual property misuse too. The plan was simple and clean. No screaming online. No vague posts. No revenge that could backfire. We would let Evan walk into his own spotlight. His investor preview was scheduled for February 2nd at 6 p.m. at a co-working lounge on Congress Avenue. Evan had invited potential clients, 2 investors, Leah, and, because his competence was apparently endless, me. "Please come," his text said. "We should talk after. I want you to see what I'm building." I replied, "I'll be there." The day of the preview, my stomach felt like it was full of ice. I wore a black blazer, low heels, and lipstick the color of red clay. Carla came with me as my guest. Tessa and Kiera waited downstairs in the lobby cafe, where the air smelled like espresso and cinnamon rolls. The wedding planner had agreed to be available by phone. My bank representative had sent a signed letter documenting the attempted redirect. At 5:48 p.m., Evan texted, "Please don't make this weird." I stared at those words and almost laughed. At 6:03, Carla squeezed my arm. "Remember. Calm is power." We walked in. The room was all polished concrete, glass walls, and little bowls of sparkling water on ice. Evan stood near a screen, charming a gray-haired investor named Dwight Carson. Leah was beside him in a cream suit, her hair pinned perfectly, her laugh bright and fake as a bell. Evan saw me and went pale for half a second before recovering. "Maya," he said, stepping forward. "Thank you for coming." Leah smiled. "It means a lot that you're supporting us." I looked at her for one long second. "I'm here for the truth." Her smile stiffened. Evan cleared his throat and began the presentation. Slide 1, Brooks and Lane Creative. Slide 2, Our Story. Slide 3 was one of my designs. My pulse hammered in my ears. Carla's pen clicked once. Evan said, "This campaign concept came from my experience building user-centered narratives." I raised my hand. He froze. "Maya, maybe questions at the end?" "No," I said, my voice steady enough to surprise me. "This one belongs right here." Every face turned. The room went so quiet I heard ice cracking in a glass. I walked to the front, plugged my laptop into the second port, and Carla handed me the folder. On the screen appeared my original file, dated August 14, 2023, with my name embedded in the metadata. "This is my design," I said. "Created for my private portfolio. Used without permission." Dwight Carson leaned forward. "Evan?" Evan's face flushed. "We collaborated on those concepts at home." "She's upset, and she's twisting." Carla stepped beside me. "I'm Maya Rivera's attorney. We have time-stamped files, access records, and a formal notice prepared." Leah whispered, "Evan, what is she doing?" I clicked to the next slide, his Bloom profile. Then the messages to Kiera. Then the line about Leah. A woman in the back gasped. Leah's mouth opened, but no sound came out. Evan hissed, "Maya, take that down." I looked at him. "You invited me to see what you were building. So I brought the foundation." Then Carla placed printed packets on the table for Dwight and the other investor. The top page was the forged wedding cancellation form. I said, "He also attempted to cancel our wedding venue and redirect $21,400 to an account I did not authorize." Dwight slowly removed his glasses. "Is that true?" Evan's lips moved, but nothing came out. Leah backed away from him like he was a hot stove. "You told me you and Maya were over." Kiera stepped into the room then, holding her phone. "He told me the same thing last week." The silence was beautiful. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just complete. Evan finally whispered, "Can we discuss this privately?" I shook my head. "You made lies public. The correction can be public too." By the end of that night, Brooks and Lane Creative was finished before it launched. Dwight Carson withdrew his investment on the spot. The second investor walked out without shaking Evan's hand. 2 potential clients emailed Carla the next morning asking to confirm that none of my stolen work would be used in proposals they had received. Leah called me 3 times that night. I did not answer. Later, Tessa sent me a screenshot of Leah posting a vague apology about being misled. It got 43 comments, most of them from women asking why she had ignored obvious signs. Karma was apparently very organized. Legally, Evan's problems got worse. The venue froze the refund and cooperated fully. Carla filed a civil claim for the forged cancellation, unauthorized use of my creative work, and recovery of funds. Evan settled after mediation because the evidence was impossible to dance around. I received $38,700, my half of the joint fund, the recovered venue deposit, legal fees, and compensation for the portfolio misuse. His consulting firm dropped him after clients called with questions. He had to move out of our townhouse within 10 days. The last time I saw him, he was loading boxes into a rented van in the rain, his navy blazer soaked dark at the shoulders. Maya, he said, voice small, I made mistakes. I stood under the porch, warm coffee in my hands. No, Evan. You made choices. 6 months later, I moved into my own condo in Mueller with huge windows, white oak floors, and rosemary growing on the balcony. I got promoted to design director in June, with a $28,000 raise. In October, the month I was supposed to marry Evan, I took my mother to Italy with part of the settlement money. We ate lemon pasta in Positano and laughed until our cheeks hurt. The green satin dress from that anniversary dinner hangs in the back of my closet now. I keep it, not because I miss him, but because it reminds me of the exact night my old life ended and my real one began. Betrayal taught me that trust is precious, but self-respect is priceless. Evan thought my love made me easy to fool. He learned, in front of everyone he wanted to impress, that my silence was not weakness. It was preparation. I walked away with my money, my name, my work, and my peace. He lost the mask, the